Hello everyone, this is just a little video from me. Was going to sort of act as a bit of a readme for anyone who wants to use this Renoise and Digitakt Mark II template. You can grab that on my website if you want to support my channel and actually save yourself the trouble of setting this thing up. But I'm more than happy to show people behind the scenes how to do this. And it was actually quite complicated. There's quite a few steps you need to do to make them work. But once you have this template, then they actually, the Digitakt and Renoise combine really well. So it's a little bit tedious to set up, but I'll walk you through this now. So to start with, what we've got to do is basically make an instance of this Digitakt plugin you can get by getting Overbridge. So if you download Overbridge, you can sort of tick Digitakt 2. So you can load the Digitakt 2 plugin. Now the next thing to do is not just to load another instance of that plugin. What you've got to do, if you come to plugin here and you click this drop down, you should see AU alias. And what you need to do, I can see this one's on instrument 13, is create an alias file of that plugin. Now on this second instance, what we're going to do is change this one to channel 2, and then from then on you can just duplicate that alias and keep changing the MIDI channels to go through all 16 MIDI channels. And that's what I've essentially done on my template, and then just labeled them all up. The next part is where it gets a little bit confusing actually, and what we need to do is essentially route everything correctly from our Digitakt to come nicely into Renoise. And what I mean by this is, so each track in the Digitakt is going to come out a different output in Renoise, and so you do this in this audio routing section, and I'm basically sending track 1 of the Digitakt out of track 1, which is just what I've called it in Renoise, all the way up to track 16. So that's pretty simple. Now I've turned off delay, reverb and chorus because they're going to go to the master track, and then I've just got external input going out of track I've called external input. So hopefully you're following me this far. I know it's a little bit sort of wordy and confusing. What I've figured out is what's happening is the delay, reverb and chorus, you can't actually, for whatever reason, it wasn't working sending them out their own individual outputs. So they're all going to go to the master track. And so what you have to do is just click this main on as well. And I've sent this to a track I've called master. So what's coming out the master is the reverb, the chorus, the delay, and the preview. So whenever you have a sample and you go into your sample menu, if I just come to sort of any old track here, if I want to preview this, you see how this is coming out this master channel. So you have to sort of set things up this way in order to hear the preview. And this is the only way I've been able to get it working, but it does function perfectly. So what we're left with is 16 individual channels all going out their own outputs in Renoise, the external input which has its own output, and then the reverb, the chorus, the delay and the preview are coming out the master. Okay, so I'm quickly jumping back in here because I realized I missed a bit of a crucial step, but you need to also go into your settings. Hold on, go into settings here, and then I'm trying to look through, do this through my phone, and go audio routing. And then you click on the 2 main button, and what I've essentially done is made sure all of these tracks, nothing is sending to the main channel here. So you turn all of them off, and then you come to the second page and you just want the reverb, the delay and the chorus going to the main. So the input routing is turned off and all of the inputs are turned off, and then that should work perfectly with this template. The last thing to kind of talk about in this template, which I've spent a lot of time doing, is going and setting up these macro controls. Now, what this essentially is getting an instrument automation in Renoise and getting a doofer, and then dragging the automation into the doofer. And then, for instance, on this, I'm on track 8. So for track 8, I would go T8, and then I would select the parameter I wanted, so like amp, sustain, level, and then I would map this to the macro in this way, and then call this sustain. And so that's all I've done for this kind of one I've already created earlier, is just find the most valuable parameters in the Digitakt and map them to these macros. And then all I've done apart from that is turn up the level of each of these kind of channels with a gain, just because it came through a bit quiet into Renoise. And then for the first 4 tracks, I've also added this break kind of control where it's got slightly different parameters to the main track controls, where for instance on the, if I go and kind of unlock, where do I go here, on the overdrive one, I'm sort of mapping overdrive and level, so the more you drive it, the level actually turns down, things like that, which make it a little bit more fun to sort of play with live doing break stuff. Anyway, so I hope this has been useful, and it will just help some of you figure out that integration between the Digitakt and Renoise. And please let me know how you get on and give me some feedback in the comments of this video. So I'll catch you very soon. Peace.